Christ got a hold of my life. He changed my life. And all you see bleeding out of me is the testimonies of what Christ has done in my life. Watch. And what he's teaching me, I'm learning, I'm testifying. I'm realizing, I'm testifying. I'm surviving, I'm testifying. I'm being broken and rebuilt, I'm testifying. I'm being snatched, I'm testifying. Ain't nobody gonna shut me up.
I was gonna start this off with this long intro, like bing, but nah. We gonna start this off just like this. Let me explain. Let's get straight to it. This is my testimony, y'all. Oh my goodness. Let's pray. I'm serious. Let's pray. I'm gonna do my silent prayer. You do your silent prayer. Come on, 1, 2, 3. Amen. For those that haven't watched my last episode, we are going to be doing that every episode. We are going to pray. We're going to do silent prayers for each other. I pray for you. You pray for me. Today is the day where we are doing my testimony. Yes, my testimony. My testimony runs deep. I believe that God made me who I am, and God has had his hands on me this whole time. Let's start. Hold on. People usually see me do this, and I opened up the Bible. This is my baby book, y'all. I got a baby book. Name, Boy Lions. Date, January 24th, 1977. Time, 21:14. Weight, 7 to 9.5. Length, 20. Big baby. Room, 743. They even got the doctor. We're not going to read his name. Okay. This is my official baby book, y'all. We're going to start all the way from the very beginning. Boy Lions was my name because I wasn't named yet. It just so happened that my father was not there at the hospital. We're going to talk about some stories here. We're going to show you guys exactly how God has had his hands on me my whole life. I'm going to show you some little passages in this book. This is my baby book. It has my first hair. It says my first bracelet was a bracelet out the hospital. It also has the date. I was in the hospital for 17 days. And you ask why? I was born feet first, and they had to break my legs and then partial my, like one of my arms, I believe, something like that. But I know they had to break my legs when I was born. And I ended up having to wear braces and a correctional shoe. So it was really, really hard for me to walk in the very beginning of my years. I had a bad stuttering problem. You're going to hear me stutter and fumble off a couple words. We just going to get through this. Thank you. We're going to get through this. I had a really, really bad stuttering problem. So I was more of like what you would say like a one-word child. Yes. No. Door. Like just things that I would say just one word. And then we're going to get into that. First off, I want to show you guys something. Well, really, you're going to hear it, and we're all going to hear it together. I have an interview of my mom that I did before her passing. Rest in peace to my mother. Well, I had a lot of questions, and I want to start from the very beginning. So let's hear it from my mother, then let's hear it from my brother, and we're going to start from maybe like about me being 2 years old. All right, take a listen.
You had the braces on your feet, now turn you around and turn you around and turn you this way, that way, all throughout the day. Different hours, like every 3 hours, every 4 hours. And then you did have a stuttering problem. Your mind was going faster than your mouth. So I'd sit down and read books to you, and I would tell you to slow down and like say go, stop. I talk to you like that all for hours. We could be sitting down and next thing you know the police was raiding the house because your dad was selling drugs. That happened many times. Yeah. That wasn't just on one occasion. Nobody knew he had drugs in the house.
Hey, so what happened was I had my birthday party 5 years old. 4 years old. I had my birthday party on 99th, right? 638 West 99th Street. This nigga runs in the house on my birthday, jumps in the alley, police busts down the door. Yeah.
You know, we'd be sitting up talking like this, and the next thing you know, the police would be breaking in the door. We didn't know he had drugs on him. We didn't know he was selling drugs.
Now you're talking about this so very, very now. And I just like I blocked them out of my system because those were hard times.
Yeah.
And I found out later he was selling drugs for like a mafia cartel.
How many people did you put in jail?
About 9. The whole house, children and all.
So
yeah, I told them straight to their face, I'm putting all of you in jail. They didn't believe me. I went right around to the phone booth and I called 911. I was mad. Yeah. I'm gonna put all of you in jail.
You're gonna run from not an infant, from a toddler to almost a teenager.
So I had to stay away from everybody for a long time because I was a hater. I mean, they hated me. I was upset. I didn't tell the world that. I mean, I had enough sense to see that at 16. That was wrong. So they hated me for telling the truth because I was mad because they would kill him, but I don't care. Mm-hmm. I don't think it was being a snitch. I think it was I really helped them. They stopped drinking so much, so nobody else was getting high like they were doing in the house. They stopped all that. But I just left them because they were mad at me. I've been through some things, and I don't mean to come on you like that. I want you to know you're strong. And if I go here, if I leave here tomorrow and I'm dead, you know you're going to be all right.
That part always hits home. Rest in peace to my mom. Okay. I was born into a real struggle with my mother. By the time I was born, my mom had already hated my father. My father was a street thug. He was. My father was a dope dealer. He was a real good man, a real good individual, but that was one of his biggest traits. And he did have a lot of women, grew up in the 70s, and this is just what it was, you know. But my father was a drug dealer, and my mom was caught up in that. When I was born, my mother's mother passed away. My mom told on my dad and all his friends. So my mom was the snitch. My mom snitched on everybody. And from that point, I was 2 years old. She was on a run. Let me take you back to that point. My brother was in the car, in the police car. I was 2 years old. I was sitting on his lap. The story goes, my mom went to a payphone around the corner from where my father was at, called 911. She was fed up, called 911 on my dad, and told the police everything. Rode with the police to where my father was at, him and all his friends, and pointed everybody out and snitched on everybody. My brother and I were in the back seat of the car. I was around 2 years old, and my brother was around 7. From that point on, my dad went to jail, but my mom had to live with that. So that started her run of her living in the world with two boys by herself, trying to figure it out. She had a lot of temp jobs, and that's the jobs that she would go for. So a lot of jobs was just month to month, month to month. So that's how we started. We started living in motels. It was motel, 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 motel. And it wasn't the nicest motel. So we lived in the roach infested motels. We lived at the Motel Sixes. We lived all throughout the outskirts of Los Angeles because, for one, she was scared, and for two, she just did not like Los Angeles no more, especially after what happened. And I was around 2 years old, and this is when my brother started lashing out for attention. I had no idea what was going on. Nothing was ever told to me. I was considered the special kid. For one, because of the problems that I had with my feet not being able to walk correctly, and then the stuttering problem. I was really quiet, and only thing that everybody would do to me was tickle me, which made my stuttering worse. And I don't think that they realized it. They just didn't realize it. You know what I'm saying? That's the only way that I was happy. So I was really just the happy ticklish kid that everybody tickled. You know what I'm saying? So in my mind, I wanted to learn and walk so bad, where that was like my first mission in life, was to learn how to walk right. Not like a regular child or not like a baby. Like, I had to have extra steps to learn how to walk. I had to have extra steps to learn how to talk. Um, it was really hard for me, really hard for me as a child, from learning and then going to school. I would be really quiet, and it was hard for me to catch on. So then I'm the special kid. I'm the special kid at school. We lived so many places where I didn't go to one school over one full school year. Sometimes it was two schools in 1 year. I wasn't taught about education. I was taught to not be like my brother. I have four brothers and a sister. I have one older brother that's in prison, and he's going to be in prison and most likely until he passes away. And this is just reality. I have another brother that was shot up multiple times, and then that took him about the neighborhood, and he's good now. He's good now. I have another brother that lived through this struggle with me because we have the same mom and dad. Everybody else has the same father or the same mom. Growing up was difficult because my brother was really bad. And it was too much for my mother. So she had to resort to like street tactics in the house with us. So we got beatings. I used to have to kneel on rice, and then the rice. Used to have to kneel on rice in the kitchen, and she put a gang of rice in there in the kitchen and kneel on rice. My brother got it a little bit worse because he used to have to kneel on rice, and then she'll put him in a bathtub, and it was like he got beat with anything and everything. I got the short end of the stick, because I was so scared of my mom. I didn't do nothing. I didn't do nothing. I used to just get the backlash. So if I said something, that was something being done. So she came up with things like if I smirked or if I said something, soap in my mouth or something like that. Um, my punishments was more like standing, putting my nose into the wall. If I moved, she hit my head hit the wall. You know what I'm saying? I did get hit with different objects, but not like my brother. My brother got hit with a weight set before. My brother got hit with brooms until the brooms got busted. Um, he did a lot of things for the beatings, but I don't think we're not gonna go that far. But this is my testimony, y'all. Man. So I don't remember teachers. I don't remember classwork, but I remember the motels that we lived in. I remember things that happened to me through the motels, like how my brother and them treated me sometimes, because I was really just like the crash dummy. Like it's just, yeah, I was treated unfairly a lot to be the joke. Um, we just couldn't catch up. So my Christmases was maybe like the little Christmas tree at the motels. I remember those. I don't remember toys. I know I had some, but it wasn't nothing like. I was more like I could just watch TV. If I can watch Flintstones, if I can watch that, that was like my toys was TV then. And I used to be stuck in these motels and running through and running around the motels. So I was stuck with a lot of bad kids. And I was like the good kid when I was a child. We did have runs in apartments, but somehow, some way, right when we live in an apartment and I felt like we had a home and me and my brother had a bedroom or something like that, like a couple months, we out of there. My mom used to make sure she just packed up a bag and we'd be gone. I didn't know what was going on. I was just kind of caught up in it. I didn't really know what was going on. So in schools, I would tell the kids that my mom was like a manager of motels, so I wouldn't get picked on. But they kind of knew. They knew from my outfits. My mom, it was always Payless. It was always the Goodwill. I didn't really get like a pair of Nikes or something like that until maybe like I was saying maybe like about 10 years old. That was like my first pair of fresh shoes. But one thing, my mom always had me in church. We started off at Crenshaw Christian Center, right in the old neighborhood. Fred Price, Senior, was the pastor. Crenshaw Christian Center. My mom liked the big churches. She didn't like the little churches. We're going to get to that. My mom liked the big churches. Adults go here, kids go here. You know, we in here with coloring books, and we trying to learn about God with the little books. So, you know, I learned about God with more of like how kids do, like with the coloring books, with the more ABC lessons about God. And my mom was faithfully in church. My mom was a true believer, for sure. That's one thing I will not take away from my mother. So growing up, I always picked one friend because I knew that I wasn't going to have a lot of friends and I wasn't going to have this friend for a long time because I knew that we were leaving. So I always stayed alone and I always just tried to pick one friend. If I didn't have one friend, then I didn't really associate some of the schools I went to. So we lived in Glendale, Pasadena, Van Nuys. We lived in actually North Hollywood when I was younger. We lived in other parts of the valley. My mom stayed on the outskirts of Los Angeles County, and she kind of knew her little path and everything like that. We lived at the We lived at the Motel 6. A couple of different Motel 6s. One of them I know that because we had a long run. One Motel 6, she'll live there, go somewhere else, and go back to the Motel 6. So I remember this Motel 6. And then we lived at a place called the Crown Plaza in Pasadena. That was a motel. And in between these times, like I said, we did have apartments. I didn't know how she was getting her money. My mom always worked 2 jobs. She had a temp job. She was working nights, so she was going to school. She was always going day and night. This is why my brother ended up so bad too, because it was no parental guidance. It was no, my mom wasn't there. She had to do whatever she can do to make the money to do it. Otherwise, we would have really just been on the streets, She was already afraid and scared of the people that she loved and grew up with because of what she did. So one day she comes to me and she's like, pack a bag. I'm like, all right, here we go. All right, so I'm thinking it's another motel. I pack a bag. We got to make sure we don't pack a lot of stuff. So I never had a lot of stuff because we always moved. You know what I'm saying? Like, how you going to accumulate stuff? Like, you know what I'm saying? She was like, nah, just get you something else. That's just how my life was. I packed the bag. We get in the car. And she drives straight to San Francisco. The whole ride. I'm 11 years old now. This is 1988. I'm 11 years old. She drives straight to San Francisco. And we stayed in the basement of somebody's house. And I just remember a lot of arguing, a lot of my mom going in and out. She never tell me nothing that's going on. So I was just like, I used to always just kind of wait just to see what's going on. Everywhere we was going, I was just waiting. I was always just waiting to see if, are we living here? We not living here? Where we going? We posted. What do I do? Can I go outside and play? So we stayed there for about 6 months, and we got an apartment. I got enrolled in school. We had an apartment, and it was a real nice apartment in San Francisco. It's a place called Pacifica. A real nice apartment in San Francisco. Within that 6 months, now I'm 11, and now I'm in junior high school. Yes, this is my last year. Yeah, this is my first year of junior high school. Around there, it's hard for me to remember schools. I'm telling you, it's very, very serious. It's hard for me to remember schools until a certain point. It's hard for me to remember schools. So I find a friend. This friend has a paper route, and where he actually goes out and sells paper. He gets money to flip papers through the neighborhood, so he gives everybody the paper. So I end up with a paper route. So I'm like, this is better than LA. It's better than the motels. Like, I'm like, this is cool. I love this. This is cool. We stayed in San Francisco maybe like about 6 more months. My mom packed another bag, and we was out. Like I said, my mom never told me nothing. She never told me nothing. What was going on? What was happening? By this time, I'm getting upset. I'm mad. I am so upset. We just left San Francisco. I'm just nothing. I'm not saying nothing. I have nothing to say. We in the car driving to Texas, and then my mom tell me, like, you see these people following us? And I'm like, nah, I don't see nobody. She like, you see these people following us? I'm like, nah. We drive maybe like another 10 hours. And she like, nah, they're following us. It's literally nobody following us. So I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, this is serious. This is serious. This is the beginning of when I started seeing my mom's mental issues, and it's just me and her on this road. It was really, 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 really hard. When I say it was just me and her, my little sister was there with us. So my little sister was very little. So it was just me and my mom that was coherent, just knew what was going on. This is when I first started really seeing my mom's other side, like my mom's other side. So we drive, we get to Houston, Texas. And I didn't even know my mama had a sister. Maybe we like an hour away from Houston, hour away from this house. And she like, oh, we're staying at my sister's house. And I was like, yo, sister. My mom, I thought my mom was the only child. I thought my mom, I didn't know nothing. I didn't know nothing. She didn't tell me nothing. I didn't ask. And it was kind of like that. So we go to my mom's sister house, and I felt uninvited, to say the least. They kind of took in my mom and my little sister. My little sister was a baby, so they took in the baby. But me, nah. So I stayed a lot in the car. We stayed there for months and months. I stayed a lot in the car, just outside, roaming around, figuring it out. I was just an upset kid at that point. I was just mad. I was just a mad kid. I got enrolled in school, and I just started being bad. That's my first time smoking weed. Really, I dipped and dabbled on it a little bit before, like hit it with my pops when I was little. For like first time I met my dad when I was like 7. One of the times he was out of jail, I smoked weed with my dad. That was my first time dipping and dabbing in weed. That was my first time, like really stealing. That was my first time just not going to school, like just not caring. Um, that was my first time really just feeling like I was older than what I was. So I felt like I was a little kid, but I felt like I was grown. Let's get it straight. I felt like I was grown. We stayed at my mom's sister house for maybe like about 6 months, and then she ended up getting a house in Texas. I was unimpressed. I didn't like Texas. I didn't like Texas. Too slow. It was different. It was just I just didn't like Texas. So now I'm being bad. I'm not doing too much. I'm just ditching school. I'm just stealing from the store. Now I'm stealing liquor. Figure out how to steal liquor from the stores. And I'm just stealing stuff, and I'm more hanging out. Now it's starting to happen where like the bad part of the little good kid. I was left alone a lot. So in Texas, my mom had to get 2 jobs. So my mom would go to work, I go to school. I have my little sister. My sister go to daycare. Then my sister get out of daycare. I gotta take her to the house. I gotta watch my little sister. Then my mom get home and go to sleep. That was the routine. That was the routine. That was the routine. For me, it was go to school, pick up my sister, watch my sister, eat, go to sleep. Go to school, pick up my sister, watch my sister, eat, go to sleep. That routine got enough of me as a kid. I already didn't want to be there. So at night, I used to sneak out. Once my little sister go to sleep, I'm out of there. I'm sneaking out. I'm walking the streets. I'm just roaming around. And that's where the idea of me, that's where the trouble started. That's where my trouble started. I first started burning trash cans. I was infatuated with fire. It started off with a match, lighting my mom's matches and just throwing them up, being mad, just lighting the match, being mad. And seeing that quick little burn in that flame, and then feeling it too. It went from matches, then it went to trash cans, little small trash cans, just put them on fire. Went from trash cans to bigger trash cans. Bigger trash cans, then broke into an abandoned house. Nobody was in it, no furniture, no nothing. Walked in this place, and just happened to be in the garage. It was a gas can. It was just not so happened to be. It was a gas can in the garage. Got the gas can, poured it all everywhere, upstairs, downstairs. They made a long line. I lit the gas, and it said, I seen everything. I seen it. Now it's on fire. It's on fire. Fire trucks come, put it out. I see the police. I'm in what they call a bayou. It's like a ditch. I'm in the ditch, looking up and down. It was fascinating to me. But what I got out of that is how I broke into the house. So now, maybe like a couple weeks later, I'm at school. I tell one of the little kids, like, come on, come with me. We roaming around. I'm like, you ever broken a house? He was like, nah. I was like, me either. Like, come on, let's try it. And that's exactly what we did. We went and broke into a house. I went to the side window. First, I looked around, knocked on the door. Nobody answered. Went to the side window. Not knowing I'm knocking on the door and the neighbors are looking through the window. They seen everything. I knock on the door. I'm a little kid. Knock on the door. Then I go to one of the back windows. Throw the rock in the window. Wow. Window busted. Opened up the window. Tell the kid to go in. Now we inside. We in there just playing around. We ain't even really trying to steal nothing. The little kid finding some pornos. He in there putting the pornos on. He's watching pornos, literally laughing and stuff. It's a big old thing of quarters. I started stuffing my pockets full of quarters. It wasn't really nothing in this house but a gang of boxes and a gang of computers. So I hear the boom, 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 front door. I'm like, it's the police. I hurry up and go, and I see it's a lot of addicts out there. So I'm like, all right, I go up in the attic, and then I'm just quiet, and all I hear is the police talking to the kid, and the little kid is like, he's up there, he's up there. Police came, opened up the attic. My feet was up there. They grabbed me by my feet, slammed me on the ground, opened up the glass in the back, threw me down, handcuffed me, put me in the car now. So they're not interrogating me, but they just like screaming at me. It's a lot of N words with the hard R and just a lot of cussing, just a lot of screaming at me, screaming, and it did not stop. They took me down this long, long road, and I was like, ooh, I'm in Texas, I'm about to get beat. And they mentioned about me being from Cali and don't F with Texas, and you done F with Texas, you done F'd up now. And, oh my God. I'm like, oh my God, I just start crying. I'm in the back crying. That long road was just to the police station. So they took me to the police station, arrested me, put me in a holding cell. They let me go. They put me in the police car, and then they took me to my mom's house. So now I'm at my mom's house in handcuffs, right? They took me out the car. They left me in the handcuffs. They took the handcuffs off at the door. And then I look at my mom. She give me one of them stares. I'm like, ooh, I'm about to get beat. Like, I'm about to get beat up. I'm about to get a whooping. All right, so I go in the back room, and I'm getting prepared. I put on 2 pair of pants, put on a couple shirts so it don't hit that hard. So, if I get whooped, it don't whoop that. You know what I'm saying? So she come in the room, and she like, get out. I was like, huh? She's like, get out. I was like, all right. I went to go start grabbing some stuff. And she was like, nah, you can't take nothing I bought you. You can't take nothing out this house. So I was like, all right. Now hurry up. I didn't want her to hit me. No second guessing. If it was a second guess, I knew I was going to get a whooping. I didn't want to get a whooping and get kicked out. So I shot out of there. And when I left the house running, I stayed running all night. I was just running and running and running and running and crying and running and running. I didn't know what to do. I went up to the school, stayed at the school that night, woke up the next morning, then talked to one person to see if I can spend the night at their house. And that day at school, I seen my mom. And I just started running again. I was gone. I left the school and just started running again, running and running and running and running. Now I ran all day. I always had my grandmother's number. So I called my grandmother automatically off bat. Call my grandmother. And she like, all right, I'm going to send you a Greyhound. So I said, okay, I'll call you when I want you to send it. So I don't have nothing. So I'm like, okay. I had a couple friends out there. So what I did is I stayed at each one house. And then I was just taking stuff from them. Like one of them, I took the jewelry. I took his jewelry. A couple jackets. The other one, I took some outfits and stuff like that. Just, And then went straight to the Greyhound. Came straight to Los Angeles. When that Greyhound bus opened, I shot up out of there. Because I thought I was about to get caught. But I shot up out of there. And then my grandma was right there with open arms. In between the time of me living with my mom, I always had my grandparents. At my grandma's house, it was my great-grandmother, my grandfather, my grandma. My auntie would come around, but she was staying with us on and off. My auntie. and my father whenever he was out of prison. This was always my grandmother's house. This is always. My grandfather is a minister. He's a pastor. My grandfather's always had his own church. So this is the other part of that story is when I was young and my mom couldn't have me, she always dropped me off to my grandparents. And my grandfather, whenever I get to my grandparents' house, it was like, for one, it was family. For two, it was like, as a little kid, it was like, I didn't want to be like my dad. I wanted to be like my granddaddy. I felt safe there. And that's where I learned about love. That's where I learned about God. That's where I learned about how to be a good human being. My great grandmother was the sweetest woman you can ever meet. I've seen my great grandmother mad one time. And I had a chance to live with my great grandmother, grandfather, auntie, like all these just different generations here in Los Angeles. So you can understand why I was so upset with my mom, why she would move and leave where I didn't have the presence of my grandparents. You know what I'm saying? So within these years, when my mom couldn't have me, I go to my grandparents' house. I was the little kid singing in the choir. I was the little kid helping out at the church. Like my grandfather would open up the church and I'd be in there. Nobody be in there but me and my granddaddy. I'm in there trying to play drums and just running around. My great grandmother was the usher. My grandmother was the first lady. My daddy, my grandfather was the pastor. Triumph Church in the Kingdom of God in Christ. That is my home church and always will be. My grandfather's church was a smaller church than what my mom liked. Now we'll get to that story. My mom was so upset with my father's side of the family where she was anti everything that they did. So they was in a small church with praising God a different kind of way and tearing on and hands on and stuff like that. My mom was like, that's fake. And that's what she tried to teach me. But what was fake was real to me. So I used to be like, how's God over here? And this is real. And how God over here and this is fake. So that was my first struggle with God. And I didn't understand the point. I didn't understand Jesus and God were the same person. Because nobody explained it to me. I've been in church all my life. Nobody really just set me down and really just set me down. It was always a scripture, you know what I'm saying? It was about life, but everybody had their own life. So I was kind of like left in the I don't know. I just knew God was real. I seen my grandfather lay hands on people and it was real. It was real. Anytime my grandfather would go up there and ask for prayer, you know, anybody needs some prayer, he put the oil, I'm first up. Everybody used to laugh at me first up. I want my granddaddy to pray on me. My grandfather has prayed on every apartment, every place I live. My grandfather has been my prayer warrior. My grandfather has been my savior. You know what I'm saying? My grandmother was a prayer warrior. In their house, they listened to nothing but TBN. It was nothing but church music. So it was like wherever you walk in, it was a feeling. It was prayer lines, prayer service. We was at church Thursday. We was at church Wednesday. We was at church Saturday. Saturday was the when they sold everything. They had a little swap meet out there where they sold everything in the swap meet. Like that was church family. Okay, so I've been knowing about God all my life, no matter what the things I did. Like, okay, so when I get to my grandparents' house, it's my first real interaction with my father. I've seen my dad before, couple times, and I don't even remember them times. One good time I remember, but it wasn't like long times. I knew my dad when I was a kid. My mom had me. First thing my dad do, he like, come on, let's go. We get in the car. He goes straight to the liquor store. Mind you, I'm 13 years old. We go straight to the liquor store. He get a shot, tequila with the wine. He gets me a shot, and then we sit in the car. He rolls up, and I have a shot. He has a shot. And he just started talking to me. Then I was like, oh, this is cool. My dad is cool. And that's what started the, just the everyday smoking and everyday drinking. It wasn't because of my dad. It was just like it was accepted. I got out here 13 years old. My auntie had to be my legal guardian, so she got me into school. Right when I stepped into school, this was way different for me because I just got back. I just got here from Houston. I've been traveling already. So it didn't take long to where I was the popular kid. I had to grasp this really, really fast too. Like I was first a loner and just ended up the popular kid really, really fast. So I was trying to keep up with the popularity. I knew my pops would let me do whatever I want. So what I did was, in the mornings, I would be the person to get the liquor for the kids before school. In the mornings, I would be the person to get the weed, make sure everybody's getting high and stuff like that. Whoever wanted to get high, and then that made me more and more popular. So now I got my own little crew. Now we tagging up the school and stuff like that. We just having fun as little kids and stuff like that. But it was a lot of drinking and smoking with me, and that stopped a lot of my education. Just the not caring. By the time I get to high school, my dad gets involved some kind of way. He figured out his own little scheme in the school to where he feel like, he approached them and said, I can be the counselor for all the bad kids and kind of put them on the right path. And he really did that. He had a gift for game. He really, really did that. He ended up being the counselor for all the bad kids at the high school. All the bad kids at the high school was all of my friends. All the people that I would get high and drunk with. All the people my dad would get high and drunk with. These kids used to hang out at my house in front of my grandparents' apartment. Like, these are my friends. So when I turned 16, my brother turned 21. So he had an ID and a driver's license. And one day we was chilling, and I was like, hey, let me use your ID. He was like, you can have it. From that day on, I was 21 years old. At 16, I was 21. We looked just alike on that ID. I was 21 years old. I just stopped going to school. They called up my auntie one time, went up to school, and told her how many times I had ditched, how many times I was tardy and stuff like that. She got so mad at me, went back to my grandma's house, and they kicked me out. At that point, I went up to the school like maybe the next week, walked into school and just walked out. Was like, nah, I'm good. I went with one of my homeboys to the barber shop on Crenshaw. Walked in there, I had a gang of weed on me. I was selling weed. I had a gang of weed on me. He got a haircut. The guy at the barbershop, I went and approached the guy at the barbershop. I was like, somewhere I can go smoke? And he was like, yeah, in the back. So I went to the back and went to go smoke. He went to the back and he was like, can I get some? I sold him some weed. And I was like, I can cut hair. I cut hair a couple times. My dad taught me how to cut hair, so I cut hair a couple times. Just the homies. That's it. And I cut my hair. So he was like, yeah, he liked the weed. So he wanted me to work there because I had the weed. I started working there the next day. I started messing up people here. I didn't know what I was doing. I was in a professional barbershop. And then he just helped me out. He just helped me out. He helped me out so much. I got so good. I was in there learning. I was just in there learning how to cut. And I seen how many people was coming in there. So I was seeing that this is some money. So I started worrying about speed. Like my speed at the barbershop. Like, I used to cut fast. I started learning how to get you the same haircut the exact same way in half the time as the next person. So I'm cutting two people hair while one person cutting. So I just started making money. I started getting real good. Then I got invited to a couple movie sets to go cut. That ended up to me being a celebrity barber. Hair got me in the business. Before that, I was rapping a little bit with the homies in high school and stuff like that. One day, my dad came into the barbershop and he was like, "Hey, man, you want to make some extra money?" I was like, "Yeah, for sure." And he knew a promoter. The promoter used to hire young kids and stuff like that to give out flyers and stuff like that at little different events and post them up and all that kind of stuff with just promoting new artists. So he was like, "Yeah, we're doing a Vegas show and we need some help." So I was like, "Yeah, I want to do it." So we go, and when we get to where the bus was, it was a big old tour bus. We get to the tour bus. I walk on the tour bus, and it was Thug Life, Tupac's Thug Life. That was my first time being around people in the industry, and I already had my little gift of gab and stuff like that. I had my little swag and stuff, so they liked me. We went to on the tour bus going to Vegas. They stopped at a store. I went in the store and stole a gang of liquor. Got on the bus and gave, because I seen that they was drinking, gave a couple of them liquor. I think it was X-Rated and Macadocious at that time. And then that was my, looking at that, I wanted to be a rapper. Like I rapped before, but I wanted to be a rapper. Like seeing that. And I just started getting good at that. So I started rapping now. Now I'm rapping. Working on the barbershop, rapping. I'm staying with the homie at the time. And, kind of bouncing back and forth, homie, grandmama, and stuff like that. And then sometimes I was actually staying at the barbershop. And then, so now I'm getting money and I'm rapping. And I'm creating an image for myself. A lot of the women like me. I was really a player with the women and stuff like, I wanted to be a player. I was like a wannabe player. So I worked for some Africans and the girls would come around. And I seen how they was looking at the girls, and I got approached by an African and he was like, "How much for that girl?" And I was like, "How much for the girl?" I didn't know what he was talking about at first. He's like, "Yeah, I want to date her. I want to date her. I want to have sex with her. How much for the girl?" And he's like all the homegirls and girls that used to come around. They used to always come around Crenshaw. And then that's when I came up with the idea of wanting to pimp. I seen that I can make barbershop money, weed money, and then I can make money off a female. I literally, in my mind, turned into a pimp, but I was like a wannabe pimp. So I used to throw little parties and stuff like that where it was actually sex parties. You come in, you can pay this little price and take the girl to the bathroom. It was like little halls or, upstairs. And we had like this little place upstairs. And then I started seeing that my customers, my high-end customers, they'll be flying in. There's a lot of rappers and stuff like that and other people. We're not going to mention nobody's name. They'll ask me like, "Oh, okay, you got the girls?" I was like, "Yeah." So that's when I started really doing that. And what I would do is get the girl, drop the girl off at the hotel. She do her duty. I'm going out to go have lunch. I'm going out to go do something. And then go back, pick her up, bye out. That's it. And I did that multiple times and I just thought I was a pimp. So that was my whole stilo at that time. And I really, really, really in my mind thought I was a real pimp, but I wasn't. Like nobody understood how upset I was with everybody around me to let me get this so far gone. So that was a shift in my life. I started looking at the people around me different. And I started leaning to God more. We had a tragedy. My great grandmother passed away, right? And I was there. A couple years later, my grandmother passed away. And I was there. And a couple years later, my dad passed away. It was like a codependence type of thing to where they all depended on each other. Then my grandfather left. Then my auntie left. and I felt like I was alone. That's when the heavy drinking, that's when heavy smoking, and then just me trying to figure it out. I lost a lot in between the process, so I would stay at my, end up staying at my barber shop or end up staying here and there. I lost a lot in the process, so I ended up staying here and there. My dad died of drugs. He actually died with the needle of heroin in his arm. I wasn't ready for that one. That changed a lot in me. That had me mad. That had me upset. I was not ready for my father passing. I don't remember the dates, and I don't like dates, so I don't know when he passed away. I still don't know when he passed away. Still don't know. Still don't want to know. But then I was just out here to deal with it by myself, so I started feeling how my dad felt at that time, just by itself. It was just a lot of mixed emotions, a lot of things going through my mind. So that's when I started leaning on God more and more and more. I felt like I wasn't ready yet to be fully committed to God, because I still had a lot of me and I. I was trying to figure it out. It was like, I'm struggling. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. And nothing ever worked. Like, nothing worked. I bagged another deal. That didn't work. Then I'm on like reality shows. Now I'm looking to be a reality show actor or something like that. That didn't work. Then, not too long after that, I get a phone call from my mom. Actually, in the hurricane after Katrina, Hurricane Rita, in the hurricane, as the water is filling her apartment. I didn't have a relationship with my mom from the time of 13, being the time of like 35. Like about 35. We talked on the phone. I never wished no ill will on my mother, no matter what happened. I was kicked out at 13, no matter what. The life that I lived before, I knew it was a struggle, but I knew how much my mama loved me. I talked to her, and then all I heard was her screaming, and then no conversation, no phone call, no nothing after that. A year later, my mom ended up homeless in Texas. Next phone call I got is from my sister, knowing my mom was homeless. My mom ended up homeless in Texas. And it was bad for her in Texas. My mom was raped, manhandled, mistreated. So the only thing that she can do in her mind is to come to California where her children are. So she came out here. My mom tried to live with my sister. She tried to live with my brother. And then it was me. She came to come and stay with me. So mind you, my mom is homeless now. And I wouldn't wish that on nobody. On nobody at all. I went through a lot of hard things with my mom being homeless. It got to a point where I just couldn't take it. Nobody could. We couldn't help her. So we had to get her the help that she needed. It was times where she'd leave my house and I had to go find her. It was times where she'd be going to places around here and just like it was a point where she just leave and I had to go find her. It was multiple times where she just leave and I had to go find her. 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 I had to go fi So me, I'm a filmmaker, and I know it. My mom told me one time, she was like, you know your life is a movie. I was like, I know. I'm gonna start filming. So I just start filming. I start filming the whole process.
I had a good relationship with my mom growing up. When I was young, I had a couple problems, and I knew that she was the person that got me out of them problems. I had braces on my feet. I couldn't walk, and I had a real bad stuttering problem. I couldn't really talk, and she helped me through all of that. But going through what she was going through, I know that she was doing it for us. I literally knew that. Okay, I just seen the brother that I want to help out and give him some food and some water.
My leg is just slipping.
All right, where you from, man?
Miami.
Yeah? So you like the water then? I do too. Miami is one of my favorite places. How long you been waiting to use the restroom out here, man? So I'm here at Rouse, about to get him some things for the day. How you been?
Good, man.
All right. You hungry?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah? Need something to drink?
Yes, sir. What you got?
I got a Mountain Dew.
Thank you, sir.
All right. I heard you coughing. You all right?
Yeah, I'm good, brother. Thank
Okay. Okay. What I'm gonna do too is I see you right here, so I'm gonna come bring you something to eat in the morning.
you. Whenever you take your time, it's a blessing.
The people I met and their incredible stories, especially from the black community, gave me.
Now, this was 15 years ago. I did 30 days and 30 nights with the homeless. I seen a man at the park, went and helped him out, right? I'm over there talking with him, and his story was so compelling. I ran to go get my camera. Ran back over there, dude was gone. So mind you, when I'm first doing this, I'm smoking, I'm drinking, I'm just helping people. My mom is homeless, so I'm having a feeling of helping people and looking to see where she going, like where's she at, where's she going. So I'm asking questions on where people going, trying to figure out. In this process, I met a dude named Rambo. The second day I went out, I did 30 days and 30 nights with the homeless. Second day I went out, met a dude named Rambo, young dude. I was like, we get to talking. I'm like, when's your birthday? He's like, January 24th. I'm like, what? Same day as mine. I was like, all right, there you go, God. So that was the first person I helped. He had me help somebody else, and I had me help somebody else. And now I'm actually out there. So I'm actually doing a whole show where I'm actually doing 30 days and 30 nights with the homeless as I'm looking for my mom. End up finding my mom. I met a woman that had a shelter. She had a bed for women. She had one bed left. Ended up finding my mom downtown Los Angeles, stepped over my mom. She jumped up with her bags, picked her up, grabbed her, took her to the house, called my sister, got her into the shelter. That was the beginning of her being in shelters and stuff like that. My sister took over that process, and then my mom was able to be in shelters. From shelters, she had to end up being in different kind of facilities, but she was off of the streets. We got my mama off of the streets, right? In this process, I'm figuring out, like, it's changing my life. I'm in a moment where I'm like, okay, I'm giving up everything, God. Like, what is this? So I started hearing different callings and different signs. And this is the very first time I actually heard God. I'm a beach boy, so I went to the beach. I went to the water, and I'm like, God, if you here, let me get a sign. Let me get a sign. I was like, I was screaming, I was crying. Let me get a sign. I'm trying to figure it out. Let me show you. This right here came out the water. People may think I'm crazy. I broke down. I started crying. I broke down. Then I heard the voices. Then I finally in my life, I heard God talk to me. And I called my grandfather. And I'm like, I remember, I was like, Granddaddy, I hear God, I hear God talking to me, like, I hear God, what do I do? He said, keep on going. I'm like, huh? He said, keep on going, boy. Once I heard the second keep on going, boy, I heard that he was proud of me. I'm like, okay, I'm going to keep on going. I did a 7-day fast where it was only water. And I gave up everything. That was the first time where I felt like God's child. I felt like a calling. I felt like I'm on a mission. So I just started helping people again. Now I'm helping people, and I just switched up to the all white. That was the very first time I did all white. That was 15 years ago. Got rid of all my clothes because all my clothes felt like I was dark. It felt like I was trying to put on something. It felt like I was trying to be Romeo. It felt like I was trying to put on, because anytime I put on clothes, I'm a fly person. So when I put on clothes, it's kind of make me, you know. Got rid of all that. And now I'm seeing that it's a calling. This is a calling of mine with the homeless. Because I was out there deep. We're going to get into all of this. This is what this podcast is about, so you guys can just understand me. That's it. All right. I was out there deep with the homeless. This is 15 years ago, and there was a lot in Hollywood, under the freeways, roundabout. I even slept on the streets. Ventured from Hollywood to Venice Beach, and I ended up hooking up with a man with an organization called Send Me a Penny, Anthony Perez, and he was out there helping the homeless, and me and him teamed up. And I told him how good I was with the camera, so I started taking pictures and doing stuff like that with him. He brought me to the Venice Beach Council, so I ended up meeting the Venice Beach councilmen and stuff like that. So I'm in meetings at the YMCA as advocate. And then I started seeing how controlled it was and stuff like that. And I was moving free with the spirit. Like a lot of it just be me free with the spirit. And I'm like, nah, this ain't me. Got away from that. Mind you, my mom is still into these placements and homeless. Now I'm like, I want to learn about the Bible. Like this can't be it. Like I need to learn about the Bible. Like, who is Jesus? I didn't know who Jesus was. I knew the miracles. I knew, I didn't know still. Like, I'm being very serious. I didn't know who Jesus was. I know it was God's son. At that point, I still thought it was two different beings. So, I found out what school my grandfather went to be a pastor. That school is still open. I ended up going to that school, Los Angeles Bible Counseling Center. And when I went to school, I went focused. Front row seat. I wanted to learn everything. And I started learning about the books of the Bible. I started learning about the eyewitness testimonies of Jesus Christ. I started learning about all the disciples. I started learning about who Jesus is. I started learning that God, the Son, and the Holy Spirit is one. I learned about Jesus' love. I'll just start right there, like Jesus' love. So I started getting books, theology books. I got the Recovery Bible to go with the Bible. I got all these different books. I got books and books and books. And then I started doing so well in Bible school to where I got my biblical counseling training. And then I got my biblical counseling certificate. And they was like, you need to be a preacher. You need to be a preacher. You know what I'm saying? So that's something I always ran from my whole life. This tells you, look, God has had his hands on me this whole time. I was a kid, and they used to tell me, you be a preacher. You going to be a preacher. I was like, not me. That's my granddaddy. No, sir. You see what my granddaddy goes through? No, sir. I've been running for that my whole life. I realized that God is going to make you do what you've been running to do if you are a follower of Jesus Christ. It is no longer me, baby. So in order to complete, you have to do a service in the church. So I go to the church. My auntie is now the pastor of the church. She's actually in school with me too. So it's a beautiful thing. I'm learning about God. I'm learning the books of the Bible. I'm just learning and learning and learning. And I'm so focused. So you have to do a service in the church. So I ended up being, you have to do a service in the church. So I ended up being the Sunday school teacher. I got all the little kids. We doing real games, Bible games, and we doing the same thing that I used to do as a kid, which what I seen as a kid with the coloring, Bible coloring books and stuff like that, and just how to learn. They having real good fun, real good fun. One day, people at the church came to me with this big old booklet. It was like, no, you got to teach the kids this. Mind you, we have a small church. It's not a lot of people. We have a small church. And all the kids is just like family. And I was like, how do I do that? Like, I don't even want to get taught that. I think I did 2 Sundays of teaching them the doctrines and the extras. And I was over it. After church, I went to the liquor store. And that started off the old wrong. I forgot about everything I did for about 10 years, y'all. Everything I just did for about 10 years. All the biblical counseling, all the teaching, everything. But one thing, I had my mother on every holiday. Anytime she could leave any kind of placement, I spent it with my mom. We talk about life. We talk about death. We laugh. I built a relationship with my mother. Finally. And that meant a lot, you know? But I didn't have a focus on God no more. I just didn't. Then I ended up getting a deal. I ended up getting a production deal. And a big production deal. I did a slate of hood films where I put everybody on my movies and stuff. And this time now I'm the film director. Okay, yeah. It's me again. No focus on God, no focus on nothing. I ain't really even have a focus on the homeless no more. It's just me. I get this big deal, I get some money. Now I'm cracking again. I'm up. I got bread. I got this big deal. We coming up with shows. And then I got approached by my boss at this time that had this company. I got approached and was like, okay, we got to go to the investor house and we got to go do some healing. I'm like, what you mean? She was like, we do constellation healings and stuff like that. So I'm like, well, all right, whatever, I'll do it. Whatever. So I did one of the healings, and it was weird, to say the least. You're going to have to look that up. We're going to talk about all this. It's going to be an episode here. This is a whole nother episode where I talk about these little different things. I did constellation healing, did a constellation. I was like, okay, this is weird, but I'm going to do it. Got to do it for the money. Let's do it. Then we have to do classes. To be a part of the company, to make the investor happy, we got to do something called Theta Healing. We talked about the constellations. I'm going to get into all of this, man. You can look it up. I did constellations first. And I think that was kind of like a little trial run for me, kind of see what I'm doing. Mind you that our investor is worth a lot of money. And this is what she does. This is what she believes in. I was told, like, roll with it because, be a part of it. Because, she pays you. So that the healing. We're at the office, and then right before COVID, we're at the office, and they was like, okay, we all have to sign up for that the healing classes to be a healer. And I was like, well, do I have to do that? Like, what is this one? This one's different than the constellation. What is this one? It was just do the first one and then be over with. We get the checks this weekend. I'm like, okay, checks this weekend. Let's go. Let's do it. All right, let's do it. Hurry up. Let's do it. And when I looked it up, this is what I seen.
One thing about theta healing, it's definitely a manifesting modality. And you get to be surrounded by people that kind of believe like you, that you believe that you're part of the energy of the creator. And it doesn't even matter what religion people are. We bring us all together in a group and teach you how to get your mind in the right brainwave where you can really connect with your heart, your mind, your soul, and actually just really be around people that actually believe that there is a life force and that we are part of it and we can connect with it. So it works pretty good.
This is what I seen. So I'm like, all right, man, it ain't nothing. I'll do this little class. The first class is okay. Second class, I go to the office and they like, okay, we set you up for the next set of classes. I'm like, I have to do this all the time? She's like, yeah. So I go in one room, I'm doing it. And now they're explaining what the full that the healing was to me. It's not only some healers. It's not only energy. It's not only, I don't believe in all the energy stuff anyway. I just didn't believe in it. Now they're giving me the colors and the map and everything like that. And they said everything comes from the creator. And I was like, I believe in Jesus. And they was like, yeah, we all, you could be a Christian, everybody, but everything comes from the creator. So you would have to actually go above Jesus to the creator to fix any generational curses and on and on and on and on. I said above. So I'm thinking, I'm like, but I have to finish this class. So I'm looking, I'm like, whoa. I'm right now denouncing Jesus. And I did it too. That day, I felt so bad. And it was like, this is what it is. This is what it is to like sell your soul. Like, this is what it is to like, and mind you, we're in a company where we're selling my life story for a profit. My whole outlook on everything and everybody around me now just started getting dark. I go into a dark, sunken place. Once again, God had my favor. Thank God. I thought it was the worst thing that ever happened to me. They gave me my walking papers like 2 days after Christmas. And then they gave me the option to work for the company for hire. I was on salary, work for the company for hire. And when I got them walking papers, I walked. I prayed and prayed and prayed on that. These are real light versions of what happened to me because I'm just getting my testimony off. But this is going to be a full segment. And I'm not here to tell people what they do or wrong. I'm just here to talk my talk and explain my testimony about Jesus Christ, my personal Lord and Savior. I still feel bad about that day. This explains why I do a lot now. Like, I do as much as I can for the homeless, as much as I can for the people, and I'm spreading love because I've done some things, and that right there, that hurt. And I knew I was doing wrong. That one hurt. That one hurt. That one hurt my inside because how much I believe in God and Jesus, and that just hurt. So I'm realizing that I'll do anything for some money. So I just stopped. I stopped directing. I stopped writing. My creative juices just left the window. I started getting into a sunken place again. Now I'm drinking again. Now I'm drinking heavy. I'm drinking heavy. I'm drinking heavy. I'm drinking heavy. I'm like, this is not it. This is not it. I start catching on to myself, you know. Then I got a girlfriend. I got a girlfriend online. First day I met her. First night I met her. She was like, you know I'm a witch, right? I was like, that's cool. She was beautiful, beautiful woman. I didn't think nothing of it. We had a really, really, really good relationship, I thought. Then one day, she was like, let's go ahead and let me do something with you. And I knew it was one of them things. I forgot what he was called. I blocked so much out of. She's like, let me do something. So we sit at the table. And she pulled out some bay leaves, sage, incense, some other stuff. She was like, right on the bay leaves. Nothing in particular, just things that you want, things, you know, you inspire, and, you know, just money. It can be anything. So I wrote on my bay leaf. And you burn the bay leaf, you put it in this little thing, and throw it outside or something. We did all that. And then the sage all around you. I'm just praying to God. You know, I'm just like, you know, I'm just, you know, it's like then you meditate. I'm just praying to God. I don't know. I don't know what kind of, I don't know. I don't know, but I did it. Now it's doing it. Now it's doing something I'm totally against for love. First it was for money. Now it's for love. I did that a couple times. And after the second time, just things went different. Our whole relationship shifted, switched, and changed. I didn't even know what's going on. We never had an argument, no nothing. I go to work one day, didn't answer my phone for a couple phone calls. I get a text message. She's breaking up with me. She has to evacuate. I'm like, evacuate? What you mean? I didn't know what was going on. So I'm at work. I'm distraught. I didn't know what's going on. So I went to the house. Somebody was like, hey man, check on the fires. I check on the fires. I'm like, oh whoa, let's go to my girl house. Mind you, I was just over there. Just over there, man. And realized that she was affected by the fires and lost everything. So within that day, she's not calling me back. And I'm crying. I'm sending her a message. She's not calling me back. I get on the freeway and I try to drive to the house. And I drove. And I'm on the freeway. And I just start seeing it smoking. I'm driving. I see it smoking. I'm driving. And I drive into the smoke where the fire is fire. Only thing you can do is make a U-turn. You can't go in no more. I seen the whole city smoke start coming into my car. I seen the whole city on fire. I'm looking like, oh my God. Those was the last days in my eyes. Like, those was the last days. Like, I've never seen nothing like that. Like, you didn't see nothing but fire everywhere, fire everywhere. I'm on the freeway. I'm like, is it an exit? Can I get off? I am the only car driving into this smoke. After that, everything turned dark. I went to my apartment. I just started I took all my clothes, walked in my place, everything, grabbed all my stuff, started putting it in bags, Gave everything to the homeless. All my jewelry, everything I've accumulated, everything gave it to the homeless. And I just draped myself in all white. Went straight to the beach. And I had a conversation with God like I never had before. not only was God telling me things, but it was a real conversation. I stayed in that water for like 2 days. I cried so much. I was so heavy. I was in the water and I'm walking and I'm walking and I'm praying and I'm crying and I'm praying and I'm praying. I just start speaking in tongues. I said, I don't know. I know what it is. You see what I know what it is. I just start speaking in tongues and speaking in tongues and speaking in tongues. And I felt a push. And I go down. When I come back up, I felt so light. Everything was so bright. Everything was so different. And I already knew what that was. I already knew what it was. I knew what it was. I ain't scared of it. I knew what it was. It was God calling me and calling me. As much as I was crying, it felt like he wasn't begging, because God don't beg. But I just felt like he was pleading for me to follow Jesus. I just felt like he was pleading for me to follow my calling. And it's not my calling on just the homeless. It's not my calling on just my friends and family. It's my calling for anybody that I encounter to be the light, to love like Jesus, to spread the word, to spread the gospel. But better yet, to show people through my actions that I'm a follower of Jesus Christ.